Just a quick heads up, the Holy Hive Show does contain adult language that may not be suitable for sensitive listeners and children. From Salt Lake City, this is the Holy Hive Show. I'm Jordan Delacruz for holyhiveutah.com, and with me as always, Daniel Lawler. What's up, Dan?
Nothing much, just hanging out, maxing out with some new glasses on.
Dude, they look good.
If you can see them, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see these fancy boys.
They're really fancy.
I look like a real art boy now.
I think I kept saying I think you look like Dallas Green from City and Color.
I think that is a nice compliment.
That's a good
honestly.
compliment.
I think that's a handsome man with a great voice.
How's your Spanish lessons going? I wanted to ask you about that.
Bien.
Bien?
Yeah, muy bien. Truly.
Are you going to try to do any kind of immersion practice?
Right now, my girlfriend's really trying to get me to just memorize keep hands and arms inside the vehicle Disneyland spiel.
Oh.
Bienvenidos.
I actually know that. Hold on. I swear I know. Wait, no, I know the one from the monorail.
I don't think you have to keep your hands and legs inside that one.
No, yeah. It goes, when the monorail's taking off, the doors are closing.
Oh, okay.
And then so the speaker goes, please stand clear of the door. And then the Spanish is, por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Perfect.
Does that sound right?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
I'm not that far. Pretty much I'm doing the basics. So it's like eat, drink, sleep. I know how to ask where bathrooms are. I know how to say I want to go to the beach. Yeah.
You're getting there. Well, we'll check in with you next week and see.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do, we can do a read or something like that in Spanish.
Oh, I would love to.
To test some of your skills. So I was looking at something, or I ran into something on Twitter. I think it was a couple of the journalists from the Salt Lake Trib. They were bouncing around this photo, and it was a picture of a nightclub from last weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like packed wall to wall with people, and Salt Lake City's in full party mode.
Yep.
It's happening.
We've moved on, I think. We've gotten tired of the virus, and we're like, hey, let's try this herd immunity. It can't be that bad.
Aren't you stoked that coronavirus is over?
Oh, absolutely stoked. I'm just going to, start touching everything, breathing everywhere.
Dude, when I saw that photo pop up, I looked at it, and once I realized what they were saying, because I think they made some kind of wisecrack about the photo, but when I was looking at it and I was like observing what was going on, I noticed I was holding my breath.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't breathing just because looking at a picture of a crowd was freaking me out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. I do that when I'm watching something and someone's holding their breath. Like if someone's underwater, I'll just I'll catch myself holding my breath too.
This kind of freaks me out that people are just not even I kind of understand the restaurants. I went to a restaurant for the first time since February, I think.
What was the restaurant?
It was a restaurant downtown called Nohm. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like Nohm.
Oh, okay. It was
incredible, but they are extremely diligent in in the surfaces. You can't even eat inside the restaurant. So yeah. I think they only book out a certain number of people in the evening, and then there's no menus or anything. It's just we're serving this course, these courses. Mm-hmm. And it was my girlfriend and her family, and we were outside on a patio, and the servers had masks and stuff like that, and they took our temperature before we sat down and everything. So it was
wow.
Yeah, they had every base covered, and it honestly felt pretty safe. And being outside, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I've only had my temperature taken at the eye doctor. That's
really?
The only place I've been where they've I got to take your temperature before you come in.
The restaurant was one of them, and then the other place that I got my temperature taken was the MacBook store, or the Mac store, the Apple store. Yeah, and that was the first time actually that I saw someone freak out because of the precautions.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
someone was not too pleased.
So it was at City Creek, and they have when you walk in, there's the Mac store, and then they have a queue with those those dividers.
Yeah.
So they make a maze with the dividers, and before you can go into the line, they take your temperature, and then they have you read down the board of symptoms. They're like, do you have any of these? No? Okay, cool. You have a mask, get in line. And some lady was like, I just want to look around. Mm-hmm. And the woman there, taking temperature, she was like, oh, that's fine. You can go look around, but we're making sure everyone is with an Apple employee so they can make sure everyone's and they can answer questions and everything like that. So like it's a very curated thing now. Like you're assigned an Apple employee and you stick with them the entire time. Mm-hmm. And I just went in and bought a computer that I paid for online. I just picked it up. But like, she's like, no, I'm not going to buy anything. I just want to look around. And she's like, I know, but still we have to take your temperature. And she's like, okay, never mind. I just won't go in.
She went to the Disney store instead.
Yeah. But, even that, like even going to a restaurant, I was like, am I ready for this? Like, we're doing this. We're doing the restaurant thing. And then we found out, how strict they actually are. And I was like, okay, that feels okay.
Following CDC guidelines and all that.
Yeah. Just basic, pandemic guidelines. Mm-hmm. And then I see this photo of just a packed club.
It's pretty gross. I didn't see any. I saw the same photo earlier this week. It was the Salt Lake Tribune Robert Gerke. Is that how you say his name?
I think so. Yeah.
I saw him post that as well. And it's hard to see because it's a bit pixelated, but it didn't look like any of the service staff was wearing masks either. Yeah. Which just seems at this point like illegal. It's like an actionable offense.
Yeah. What?
Maybe they'll get life in prison.
It just goes to show that like you really can't like depend on like humans to just or our community to kind of govern itself when it comes to like stuff that affects other people like this, because people are just going to do what they want to do. And I think it was that same tweet where he was like, Salt Lake can no longer talk shit on Provo or Utah County or anything like that.
That's exactly right.
Lo and behold, though, today while we were prepping the show, I went on Twitter and I found this video of, I think it's a nightclub in Provo. And it's just, again, packed with people dancing and no one's wearing a mask. Yeah, people are just like right next to each other, drinking mocktails.
Mocktails.
Yeah, I think this is pretty gross.
I think it's pretty irresponsible.
Yeah.
It's selfish.
Yeah. And, it sucks, the situation that we're in right now. And like, I want to go back to movies. Yeah. And movies aren't even a place where you're like slammed wall to wall. I mean, kind of, but you have like a little bit of space. I know that movies right now are doing like the checkered seating. So like every other seat is empty. Yeah. At half capacity. And I don't even know if I would feel like good doing that.
I wouldn't feel particularly good my big thing is just not wanting to be indoors where air is circulating,
Yeah.
So I want to be outside where the air is kind of just free and not like in a circular motion, I guess, of like air conditioning systems.
Yeah. Like when you go into a nightclub, it's just like mostly breath that you're inhaling.
Exactly.
Like that's mostly what it is. And people are drunk, so they're not going to mind like people's space, and they're not going to be like super aware of guidelines or following certain rules if they're just getting hammered and trying to dance and stuff like that. So like nightclubs in particular just seem like kind of sketchy right now, or really sketchy right now. Let's do some news.
Let us do it.
All right, so this last week, God hath spoken. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced modifications to its policies regarding morality issues such as birth control, surrogacy, and that sweet, sweet medical marijuana.
Sweet, sweet medical marijuana.
These revisions come in the form of their newly updated General Handbook, which outlines policies and procedures for members of the church. Specifically, Chapter 38 outlines the church's faith-based policies on social issues. This section saw many revisions, but is preceded by a disclaimer from the church that states, quote, "A few policies in this section are about matters that the church discourages. Church members usually do not experience membership restrictions because of their decisions about these matters. However, all people are ultimately accountable to God for their decisions." So it's like kind of just like a half-assed, like, hey, look, these are our stances on it. But ultimately, the big guy decides.
Don't do this, but also we're not telling you not to do it.
Yeah. It's as someone who usually doesn't like to be held accountable for things, that's a good move.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just wanted to take a look at some of these changes real quick. These actually, I'm pulling all of these. I did go through the handbook because they actually have a digital version online. Okay, but I pulled most of these.
Is the handbook the word of wisdom? Is that what you're talking about?
I think that's
or is
different.
This a completely different thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we're not Mormon, so we just have like a surface understanding of the church and its and its goings on.
Yes.
Know? So I think it's different from like the word of wisdom.
Okay.
Guidelines. This is like the I think this is the new member handbook.
The new member handbook is a little like more fast and loose, where it's more suggestions, and the word of wisdom is a bit more.
I don't think the word of wisdom is kind of
suggestion based.
Yeah, right. I think it's a lot of suggestions.
Isn't that where the coffee stuff is? That's like the whole thing. All right.
Yeah.
Either way,
I think that's This is like Mormonism for dummies. It's like the entry level handbook. Like, you're part of the team. Here you go. Here's your book. Here's your jersey.
All right.
So this is coming from Peggy Fletcher Stack's article at Salt Lake Tribune. So here's one of the changes. While sperm and egg donations from anyone other than the husband and wife are still discouraged, the decision is, quote, ultimately left to the judgment and prayerful consideration of the potential donor. So you can donate sperm and eggs.
It's still discouraged, but I think that's nice.
Yeah. I think it
sucks that it's discouraged, especially in Mormonism or the LDS religion. I know they don't particularly like being referred to as Mormons anymore. But members of the church, I know that they are, it's especially a family-based religion. You know? I mean, more than most, as far as I know, and I'm no religious studies scholar, but they're a family-based religion. And so it's really sad that some people who aren't able to conceive are left feeling a bit guilty about it, feeling lesser than, and then you have guidelines saying that they can't. So it's good that they're at least saying it's up to you now, and that it's not like a de facto sin, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of these kind of adjustments come from, is like, I think they're trying to discourage judgment between members.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, first of all, if you're, I mean, when I talk about the LDS Church, I completely separate like the members from the organization.
Absolutely.
Because
I think that's important with any religion.
You like really have to. And so like, I'm glad that the organization, like I wasn't surprised that, it doesn't surprise me that they had something that said maybe, sperm and egg donations are discouraged or something like that. It doesn't surprise me. But if you're a member and you're judging people for, taking these routes to start a family, like,
we all deserve happiness.
Yeah,
and if
like,
that's
come on.
and if that's what you need to be happy, then you deserve it. The LDS faith is much more like follow these guidelines and people stick to it. Like being born into a Catholic family or a Christian family or a non-LDS Christian family. It seems like they're just a little more lenient, and maybe that's because that religion is thousands of years old, and so it's like we got tired of trying to police masturbation 2 centuries ago.
We started getting into trouble breaking into people's houses.
Exactly. And so I sometimes I do wonder, like, I find it so interesting how the LDS faith and people within the LDS faith are really, really, they follow it to a T in a lot of situations, whereas other religions are more like the Easter, Christmas Catholics. You know what I mean? Like, there's an actual term for the more casual worshippers of Catholic faith.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing too. I think that's where all these kind of like adjustments come from, is that like members of the church do take their guidelines serious. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that, but you do like if they're going to take them serious, they're going to take their doubts about them seriously, and they're going to bring that up. And I think that's where this comes from, is like members who are maybe struggling with fertility or things like, they don't want to feel guilty about it. So they're talking to people in the church, and then it, goes up the ladder, probably a lot slower than you would want it to, but here we are. Anyway, next point, surrogate motherhood is also discouraged, but is a, quote, personal matter that is ultimately left up to the judgment and prayerful consideration of the husband and wife. In addition, and this is the really interesting point, in addition, babies born to a surrogate mother are not, quote, born in the covenant, says the new wording. So couples must apply to the first presidency for their children to be sealed to them, meaning they would be their children in the hereafter, which I'm assuming means like the afterlife.
So it's kind of just like an asterisk on your baby.
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah, like it's technically not your baby.
Is that how they do it with adoption? You have to like apply for
I would assume so. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think that's maybe the way it goes. Is like you have to be sealed to.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you do it, we have to go through some extra things. Yeah. So we make sure you guys all go up at the same time.
You must fill out the proper paperwork.
Okay, sex education. As a part of their responsibility to teach their children, parents should be aware and appropriately seek to influence the sex education taught at school. Parents teach correct principles and support school instruction that is consistent with the gospel. So essentially, it's like you're responsible for teaching your kids about sex, and you should be vocal in your school districts about having a consistent. I'm not sure what their policy is. I dug into it a little bit, and it's still like kind of vague.
Yeah.
Like they in this very like handbook, there's a digital version of it online if anyone wants to check it out. It's actually really interesting to kind of dig through. But under sex education, it basically said, talk to your kids, make sure that, and it had some like helpful bullet points. It was like, have talks that are at the maturity level of, your child's age. So don't like go too intense when your child's really young. But as they get older, maybe get a little more into it. It doesn't say anything about like birth control. It's just all, abstinence
based. And that's kind of where my big problems come in with not even just LDS, but religious institutions having a say in any sort of sex education. Is putting the onus on the parents is an innately awkward thing. Like parents in general are already awkward talking about sex.
Yeah.
And when you add on, and obviously no offense, when you add on the entirely awkward nature of how Mormons talk about and think about sex, it's just an added layer of just like, I think it's left unsaid most of the time, I would say. I think the parents are often not talking to their children about sex, and it is left up to the school,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I still remember like the most, not to throw my dad through the ringer right now, but I think the most intense like sex talk that my dad ever gave me was, I got strep throat one time.
Yeah.
And we were in the hospital, and they were running some tests. And so they took like a 6-inch swab and they put it in the back of my throat, and they ran tests on it. And after the nurse left, he goes, did you see that long Q-tip? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, if you get an STD, they put that in your penis.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell?
There you go, Ed. Shouts to Ed Delacruz.
I wonder if he remembers that. Yeah. And I was like, it did instill some fear in me.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want that to happen. But yeah, I think that is that's the gray area where a lot of the problems happen, though, is like, really innocent young teenagers. They're, mentally they're innocent, but their bodies start to kick into, they revert to their savage nature, and they're just like, I do think that they maybe need to adjust that a little bit to talk about like, you have to have a safety net for this.
Let educators educate.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. What do they have to say about weed?
Information on medical marijuana has been added, which approves the use of the drug for medicinal purposes as long as its use is deemed, quote, medically necessary by a licensed physician or other legally approved medical provider, and the person follows, quote, the prescribed dosage. That last line, when has there ever been a prescribed dosage of marijuana?
Truly. It's like you need to take one puff of marijuanas.
Yeah, you need to have one half of a marijuana cigarette.
It does sound a bit naive.
It's extremely naive. Yeah. But like, it's like, I'm not going to be like, you dork. Like these people the people that are writing this don't smoke.
They don't
weed.
know.
They don't know anything about like weed culture.
You could say your prescribed dosage with an edible. I could see take one 10 milligram cube, per headache or something. But when it comes to burning the leaf, which you're not actually allowed to do in Utah anyway, or heating up the leaf into a vapor, how can you prescribe a dosage for that? I don't really understand.
I don't think they do. Like, I think they're just like, try this, try that. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like those use at your own discretion type things. Like,
Valium.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Well, I mean, I know like things like Valium and like Xanax and stuff like that have doses.
Yeah. But it's used when necessary.
Yeah, it's used when necessary. It's not like a daily regimen thing. And I think that's mostly what medical weed is for. I came up with 5 Mormon-inspired weed strains if they get into the business.
I'm ready for it.
Okay. Number 1, Moroni's pipe.
Love it.
You like that?
Yeah.
It's good. It's visual,
I love it.
You can the branding, the label makes itself.
It really does. No graphic design necessary.
Number 2, Prophet Cough.
Prophet Cough.
Number 3, Temple Lights.
Love it.
That's like kind of inspired by like Northern Lights. Celestial Kingdom Kush.
That might be my favorite one.
You like that one?
Yeah, I really like that one.
It gets
a
you
lot.
high.
The highest of heavens.
And then this is my strain for CBD only, no THC strain, missionary position. I was just like, I don't know. I like making little lists, and I was like, if Mormons got into the business,
that's what they're doing.
I'd like to know what I would like to name their strains.
Beautiful stuff.
All right, moving on to the next story. University of Utah football players are teasing a boycott of the Pac-12 if certain demands aren't met. So essentially, a bunch of college football players got together and drafted a document. And I think this is like the wider NCAA college football. I don't know if any University of Utah players were involved in drafting this document.
Mm-hmm.
They've just been coming out and supporting it. But anyway, a bunch of them got together and outlined this document that makes demands of certain needs for them to play this year, essentially. And it's like those things include like things addressing racial injustice that they expect like the NCAA to do. So racial injustice, revenue shares for players, and safety guidelines to curb the risk of COVID transmission, and options to opt out of the season if they don't feel comfortable without risk of scholarship lost. So one of the quotes from the document reads, and there's like a ton of these. It's actually, I think, a pretty well-written document. You can find it online, but a section from the document reads, quote, because unjust rules prevent the 98% of college football and basketball players who won't go pro from capitalizing economically on what would otherwise be the most valuable years of our lives, including many black players from low-income homes, #WeAreUnited. So it's just a lot of bylines like that. All of them end with #WeAreUnited, but it's a lot of things like that. And you being the kind of more well-versed sports guy, I wanted to know, like, is Utah, or not in Utah, is college football and college sports altogether like just a huge fucking racket?
College sports definitely are a huge fucking racket. And I think that they create moral complexities. Like, I have occasionally felt, am I like kind of complicit in some of this stuff by watching this product?
Yeah, I love college football.
I love college football as well. College football has an environment unlike anything else. As you know, college sports in general have an environment unlike anything else. It is rowdy as hell in a way that you're not going to get from the people paying $600 for seats in an NFL game.
Yeah.
And same with basketball. College basketball is also rowdy. There's just traditions built into every school that are so fun.
There's more of this like deeply ingrained like community thing going on. Yeah. And there's like, they up the pageantry in college football, which is fun to participate in.
And who doesn't love a marching band?
I love a marching band.
A drum line? Incredible. A drum line. Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. That is something that I think all pro sports should take note of, is like get the band into the stadium. Get the band back together. It brings the energy. But in terms of just like what they're asking for, I don't think anything is that unreasonable. And this is obviously a complex issue. There would have to be a lot of conversations about how compensation especially would be addressed, given that not every college football player plays for a Power 5 conference. Not every college football player, it like, is the 125th person on the roster going to get paid the same amount as the first person on the roster, So there are complexities, but it's nothing new. This conversation's been going on for as long as I can remember. And I am absolutely sympathetic to the idea that these people are building school programs on their backs and getting nothing for it. Yeah. I mean, they're getting a free education, sure, but like, when you look at the numbers compared to a scholarship, it is so outweighed that it's almost hilarious, you know? And, a lot, like you said, a lot of these people are coming from less fortunate circumstances and using football as like their escape route. Yeah. And they're putting their body and their health on the line. And especially right now when COVID is running rampant throughout our entire country and world, I can see why that would be a bit worrying. Yeah, for sure. So it's definitely rough, Yeah,
I think what I read when I was reading through that document, I think the main point as far as like the distribution of revenue shares goes is like the first thing that they want to do is they kind of want to axe excessive salaries for coaches and administration. So like the people that are involved, the staff members are basically involved in these sports programs are getting paid insane salaries. And then on top of that, if they do well, they get insane bonuses.
Yeah.
And so they're like, that's the first place we start in finding like the revenue share from the money.
Well, one of the things is they're asking, because not all sports are going to be protected during COVID. You know, football is obviously a huge cash cow. Basketball is a huge cash cow with March Madness getting billions of dollars from auto dealers and TV networks and everything.
Yeah.
But like you're not going to get as much college baseball. You're not going to get gymnastics. You're not going to get lacrosse. Those things are kind of falling by the wayside.
Yeah.
During COVID, and for like they say specifically in this Players Tribune article that you are referencing. End lavish facility expenditures and use some endowment funds to preserve all sports. As an example, Stanford University should reinstate all sports discontinued by tapping into their $27.7 billion endowment. I can see why they would want that.
Yeah, like you can't throw them a bone.
Yes,
you know,
$27 billion is a lot of money. Just some more numbers just to like add on to this. Like maybe we could figure out something here.
Yeah.
I like Kyle Whittingham. You and I have worked with Kyle Whittingham in the past.
He's a really cool dude.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But Kyle Whittingham gets paid $3.3 million per year. He is the highest paid person in the state of Utah.
Really?
Yes. In the year 2019, Utah Athletics brought in $99.5 million in revenue.
Yeah.
In the Pac-12 signed a $3 billion television contract with ESPN and Fox Sports that allows them to air their athletic events.
Yeah.
But we can't pay college athletes for their likeness, you know? Like, how many number 11 jerseys do you see at Rice Eccles on a Saturday, you know? Mm-hmm. And those are all very clearly Alex Smith jerseys. They just don't say his name on them.
Yeah.
You know? And so he deserved some of the money from that. They're literally getting money off of free labor. And I understand they're getting scholarships. That's always going to be the argument, is like they're getting education. And it's like, sure, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that really worth it?
Yeah, exactly. And just like kind of what they're sacrificing, and it's different from like someone who's excels in a certain field and they get a scholarship that way. They might be sacrificing their social life or like their time or something like that. But like when someone's sacrificing their health and generating billions of dollars, then it doesn't seem completely out of the question that maybe they should get compensated for that. And to your point about Kyle Whittingham, like he's a really cool dude, and we don't want to like necessarily bankrupt him or anything like that. But it's like, the amount that he's getting paid is extremely excessive. Not saying that he can't, like, if he's still making a 6-figure salary,
that's good.
He's still going to be pretty wealthy. And so like, I'm not saying that like, people, especially, and I think administrations who train winning teams, it doesn't seem crazy to me that people that do really well, you know, get a little extra, something. Because it does. It like those types of things enrich the university's program. Like if the University of Utah takes home a Pac-12 championship, there's money that goes into the school because of that. And so I don't necessarily think that there's anything wrong with someone getting paid well or getting a bonus for doing their job well. But Kyle Whittingham, as you know, brilliant of a coach as he might be, and as nice of a guy as he might be, he's only one piece of the puzzle for this whole industry. Yeah. And most of the pieces of the puzzles of this industry aren't getting compensated at all.
Well, the University of Utah raised their tuition significantly when they got into the Pac-12, and they got into the Pac-12 because of their football program. Like every aspect of that school is more expensive now than it was before they were in the Pac-12, and they are in the Pac-12 because of their football program, because of Alex Smith and what Coach Urban Meyer. And because of what Kyle Whittingham and the 2008 team did in the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, I believe, to Alabama. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it is ridiculous. And I think it is impossible to look at this and not see some racial disparities here when these kids 18 to 22-year-olds. Sometimes it's hard to remember that they're 18 to 22 years old because they're huge.
Yeah.
They're huge human beings, and they're also on our TV. And sometimes I think that there's like a bit of a disconnect.
Oh yeah,
there.
for sure. Yeah.
But like they are either in school, at practice, or playing games. You know, they do not have time to hold down like a 9 to 5 to pay for things outside of those. You know.
Yeah.
And they can't even accept money from friends. They can't accept money from a random booster, you know? Like, why can't a rich person in Utah just give
sponsorships
money? And so that obviously favors, like, the people from affluent families. And so when you have the kids that are coming from the low income, they're just kind of left to fend for themselves. And oftentimes, sometimes they do take some money from someone. I know an Ohio State player got, like, free tattoos, and his like national championship trophy was like taken from him. Like, it's ridiculous. And when they do stuff like this, the NCAA punishes students. They don't punish organizations. They take scholarships away from schools instead of like, I don't know, just do fees, I guess. Just make them pay fines. I have no idea the fix. I guess the fix is to let them fucking accept money, but I don't know.
It's almost cheesy, like how marketed and how like how sold
everything
all of those assets are. Like it's
when
insane.
We're at a football game and it's like another first down presented by Ivory Homes every 2 minutes. I hear that.
Yeah.
We can pay some players.
A celebration of life. It starts with some sad news, and the sad news is that last week, Wilford Brimley, the mustachioed Utah actor who brought joy to our hearts and insulin to our pancreases, died a week ago at the age of 85. He had a decorated career that included classics like The Firm, Cocoon, and The Natural. He's bumped shoulders with Hollywood's most legendary actors, including Jane Fonda, Robert Redford, Tom Cruise, Paul Newman. He's also starred in one of the greatest horror films of all time. Do you know which one I'm thinking about?
The Thing?
The Thing.
The Thing.
Dude. Dr. Blair.
Absolutely.
The paranoid scientist.
Legendary.
Who eventually just pretty much becomes like the surrogate villain for the whole movie. Epic. And this was a dude who was born in Salt Lake City and died in St. George. He was a lifelong Utahn. And I think most of the people our age probably know him from the meme that he kind of...
Diabetes.
Yeah, he inspired, which is the Liberty Mutual commercials and infomercials where he talks about his struggles with diabetes. And now it seems like 90% of the time when I hear someone talk about diabetes, they say diabetes. It's like really changed the lexicon. So I just wanted to play a little clip from that Liberty Mutual infomercial.
Good morning. I'm Wilford Brimley, and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about diabetes. Actually, about diabetes and how it's affected me in my life. I'll start when I was first diagnosed.
This goes on for 5 minutes, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but like, he's a good voice to listen to.
Absolutely.
I love listening to his voice. And he plays like, in a lot of the movies that he was in, he plays like kind of the gruff character. In his look and his sound, like that mustache.
Dude, that mustache walked so that Sam Elliott's mustache could run.
It's epic.
That's my mustache takeaway.
And I kind of like Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott's kind of that same kind of figure. Where
Absolutely,
he's like,
the voice
and
everything.
And the demeanor, and like you hire Sam Elliott for a certain reason. So I actually didn't know this until I started doing research. When I knew I wanted to talk about Wilford Brimley, I started doing some research. I actually had no idea about this, but he was a spokesperson for Quaker Oatmeal.
Yeah.
In our own, Utah's own Wilford Brimley was doing Quaker Oats commercials. I just want to watch a couple of these because they're amazing. And also, some would say that we've come a long way since 90s advertising. I think we're falling behind. I think this is the peak of advertising and commercials.
Every day should start with Quaker Oats. Oatmeal is back in the news. Doctors confirm again, if you're on a low-fat diet, oatmeal can help reduce your cholesterol. And oatmeal, of course, has no sodium. Also...
Now, there's some good news for you. Of course, I've known that for a long time. I learned it by making Quaker Oats part of my own diet. For my own good heart, my own good health, and just feeling good every day. Every day should be
wait, here's the end. Oh, that hat. Dude,
the hat.
The hat, dude.
I love it.
See, like, I think that was part of his like kind of personality too. Is like unapologetically Utah.
Yeah.
He's got like the rancher hat, and I think I think when Robert Redford met him was like on a ranch, like he was doing like work with horses.
Yeah.
And Wilford Brimley was like a good horse guy to know.
He looks like a good horse guy to know.
Yeah. So like, yeah, the unapologetically Utah thing. Okay, so hold on. I want to go through a couple more of these.
This one's my favorite.
They're incredible. Also, what happened to jingles?
I know.
I love a commercial jingle.
You know, when I was a kid and got a hold of a nickel, I thought I was rich. I didn't turn up my nose at pennies either. Today, some folks won't even bend to pick them up. Well, here's a bowl of steaming Quaker oatmeal. And I can't think of a healthier way to start the day. Cost you 1 nickel and 4 pennies. So if you can't be bothered with nickels and pennies, throw them in a jar. Start an oatmeal fund. Quaker Oats. It's the right thing to do.
Oh, my God. First of all, oatmeal cost 9 cents in the 90s?
See, I'm not sure.
A nickel and 4 pennies?
I wonder if that's like...
Per serving.
Per serving, yeah.
That's fucked up if they put that in the commercial, and that's per serving.
Yeah. People show up to the supermarket, and they're like, I got 9 cents. I want to buy me some Quaker Oats. It's like $1.50. They're like, what?
Yeah.
No, and also the kind of like morality play at the end.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. Yeah, I
love it.
Do you eat oatmeal?
Sometimes.
It seems
it's not Quaker Oats oatmeal. It's more of like the granola oatmeal sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, with the like fruit.
With fruit, with seeds and stuff.
If we had one person from Utah representing a certain product for the entire world, it just seems very Utah to be oatmeal.
Truly,
you know.
Yeah,
and just also he's from Salt Lake, so he's not. I don't think he was like raised in rural. Of course, I could be wrong, like rural Utah, but like
the voice,
like does Utah have an accent? I know that like we have words that we pronounce weird, like mountain,
button,
crick.
Yeah, I mean maybe it's kind of like Gilbert Gottfried. It's just his performer voice.
Yeah, that would be very bizarre if Wilford Brimley, came off set, went home, walked in the door, and like, "Honey, I'm home."
Yeah, that'd be great though.
Okay,
amazing.
That's not bad. I had to I really wanted to watch some of those because they're great. But I also wanted to discuss because again, not a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people in our generation are like way familiar with Wilford Brimley as an actor.
Yeah,
and he's not like an A-lister, I would say.
No.
I think to people like cinephiles and stuff, he's pretty iconic, especially like for like The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Cocoon. He has a really, really good role in Cocoon.
So shout out to the Brimley Cocoon line on Twitter. It's at Brimley line. They basically just tweet out anytime an actor reaches the exact age that Wilford Brimley was when he appeared in Cocoon.
Oh, no.
So that exact age, by the way, is 18,530 days old, which was Wilford Brimley's age on the day Cocoon was released.
And so who belongs in that ranks?
Well, it's actually something that Wilford Brimley used to retweet quite often. And say,
was he active on Twitter?
Welcome. Yeah, he was pretty active on Twitter.
Nice.
And he was like, welcome to the club, basically, anytime it would happen. And so just recently today, here, I'll just give you today's submissions or yesterday's submissions.
Okay.
Gerard Butler.
He
born on 13 November 1969. Gerard Butler is now 18,530 days old.
So Gerard Butler is as old as Wilford Brimley was when he was in
Cocoon.
That is bizarre, actually, because I now understand the appeal of that Twitter account because
because he seems so much older in Cocoon than Gerard Butler seems today.
If you haven't seen Cocoon, Wilford Brimley's role in Cocoon is he lives in a old folks home essentially. And him and 2 other old guys find that when they swim in a pool that they have youth and vigor again. They don't like look younger or anything. Their just hips don't hurt. And then they can, and then they find out it comes from some like alien life force. But like he plays a senior citizen,
an old man
in like a senior community
from July 29th. I get older, they stay the same age. Born on November 4th, 1969, Matthew McConaughey is 18,530 days old.
Wow.
Matching Wilford Brimley's age on the day Cocoon was released.
So has Wilford Brimley just looked 70 since he was like 30?
Probably since he was like 14. That mustache does a lot of heavy lifting in the age.
Maybe he would have looked a lot older, but he was just eating those Quaker Oats, and it was, the youth that he had left. He was holding on to it. Wow, that's really funny. That's a great like Twitter account concept.
One of my favorite Twitter accounts, even though it's the same thing every day.
So maybe people in our generation know Wilford Brimley from that account, but it made me think, because we don't have a ton of actors from Utah. We do have like a pretty good film scene, and obviously, the Sundance Film Festival brings a lot of the film industry into our state. But I wanted to kind of think about Wilford Brimley and consider the question, is he the greatest Utah actor of all time? And so I have some thoughts, and I have a list, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I know I was looking at your list, and my actor is not on your list, which makes me think that maybe it's wrong.
So what did you write?
I just wrote that I would have to give the edge pretty emphatically to Robert Redford, just for his appearance in some of the more iconic films of all time. You got Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You got All the President's Men. You've got
Sting.
Sting. You've got The Great Gatsby. Like
The Natural.
Countless. The Natural.
Yeah, with Wilford Brimley.
And just for what he's done for the state of Utah with the Sundance Film Festival, I would have to give the edge to Redford. But I'd put Wilford Brimley second, probably.
So the reason why I didn't consider Robert Redford is because by the time Robert Redford got to Utah, he was already a huge and successful actor.
Okay.
And that he has a lot of business here, and I think he does have a house here, or maybe a couple houses here. But I don't know if he's like a Utah citizen, and I don't know if he spends the majority of his time here.
Gotcha.
So I think Utah's more of like a business center for Robert Redford, and not necessarily like the community that he came from.
That's fair.
And so and there's a couple of those other kind of asterisk actors on here too. So in considering, I think these are like kind of, and some of these kind of don't hold a candle to Wilford Brimley, but some of them are kind of consideration. So first, James Woods, born in Vernal.
Okay.
From Videodrome, he plays Hades in Disney's Hercules and all its incarnations.
Pretty good voice.
Yeah, Casino and Family Guy. He plays himself in a lot of episodes of Family Guy. I don't know if you know this, but James Woods blocked me on Twitter.
Amazing.
Because
he's pretty annoying on Twitter.
He's very annoying on Twitter. Yeah. And I made some crack at him because he tweeted about something, and I just like took a crack. And I think he's pretty just like active in blocking people that don't agree with him and stuff like that. But he blocked me, and it was kind of an honor. Maybe a little bit more notable than Wilford Brimley, but I don't know if he tops.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Wilford Brimley, like his role in The Thing, is more iconic than anything James Woods has done.
I would agree.
Donny Osmond. First of all, no. Second of all, to just recap his career, he mostly plays himself when he's acting.
Yeah.
And he in cameos and stuff. He was in Mulan, but only as a singing voice.
Yeah.
So he technically played the singing voice of a character, but the talking was done by another actor. Ty Burrell.
Okay.
This is kind of another one of those asterisk things because he's not from Utah. He owns businesses here. He owns a restaurant in Park City. He owns Bar X downtown. And he lives here, but I know that like when he was working on Modern Family, he had a house in LA too. But that was mostly for work purposes, but he does consider Utah to be his home. And I think his wife might be from here.
I believe that is the thing. Yeah, his wife is from here, and that's why they have a residence in the Avenues, I believe.
How do you feel about Ty Burrell as an actor?
I don't really think about Ty Burrell as an actor. I thought he was so smarmy in Dawn of the Dead.
Dude, he's like
he is great in Dawn of the Dead.
Dick in Dawn of the Dead,
which is so fascinating seeing where his career kind of went after that. And like now I'm sure he's he's mostly known for Modern Family, where he just
sure.
kind of plays the dunce dad. But most of what I think about Ty Burrell is like his weird eye blinking. I don't know if you've ever noticed how much he blinks. He has a very strange blink.
And it seems like kind of like a like an aggressive blink.
Yeah.
Like he like really clenches.
It's very
that's interesting. Maybe there's something in his Wikipedia about that. I hope we're not like outing a condition or something like that he has. I like Topper. I like him too. I think he's good. Like he seems like he could have had like a John Hamm type career, but didn't quite. I know he's like really active in like stage like acting. So I don't know if he just didn't lean into film as hard as he could have. I know he was on The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
and he like I think if maybe that movie went a different way, he probably could have had a bid to have a bigger role in the MCU.
Sure.
But we like Ty Burrell. I don't think he's quite got the iconicness of Wilford Brimley yet, though.
Maybe if he had a mustache.
Roseanne Barr.
There you go. She was on my list too. So what I had was Robert Redford 1, Wilford Brimley 2, and then Roseanne Barr and Ty Burrell, kind of a toss-up in there after that.
So yeah, I think Roseanne, she was a comedian first, and she actually has some like crazy stories about her time in Utah and what it was like. 'Cause I think she was a member of the church early in her life, or her family was, or something like that. But so she's a comedian, and I feel like most of her work has kind of been just built off of her personality. So like Roseanne, the sitcom that she was on for many years, was just her being her.
Yeah.
She's just being Roseanne. And any role that she had, which she doesn't have a ton of movie roles, but she's just kind of being Roseanne. So I don't think she's like acting,
No.
Acting. And it's kind of like the same thing with Donny Osmond. It's like Donny Osmond's never like acting. He's just being Donny Osmond. Millicent Simmons.
I thought this was a great addition by you. When I saw it in the notes, I thought it was a great addition. She is. I think that she is genuinely great.
She's
in The Quiet Place.
She's a
Quiet Place. Whatever.
She's a great actress. So Millicent Simmons plays. She's a deaf actress who was in Wonderstruck, and then shortly after that, Quiet Place, and she'll be in A Quiet Place 2 when that comes out in 2021. But yeah, no, she's like genuinely like. I honestly think if she kind of like sticks with it, like she could have like a pretty formidable career.
I think so,
especially with right now in film, they're kind of considering what the role of actors with disabilities, what their role is in the industry, and how they can maybe branch outside of roles that are not tied to their disability and stuff like that.
Marlee Matlin, is that her name? Hold on. Yeah, Marlee Matlin, great. Like that's a great example of a deaf actress that wasn't tied to being a deaf act. Like her role, especially in like The West Wing, was not at all. It was like being deaf was
not part of her character.
Tertiary to her character. Like it was not first or second. It was something that was just she's just a deaf actor.
Yeah, and I should say that like I mean I think that an actor who has a disability not getting parts isn't inherent to their disability. It's inherent to the writers who can't write. Like you said, that's the woman from The West Wing. Her character isn't hinged on that disability because the writers are writing good, good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, Julianne Hough.
I don't think she's good.
She's just she's just Julianne Hough.
She's Julianne Hough. She's good. She danced, right? I think she danced.
No, she's like extremely talented.
Yeah, definitely talented. I've never really bought into any of her performances.
Yeah. And it does seem like, and most of her stuff's like she was in Dirty Grandpa, and that seems like the most like acting that she's maybe done. Where she's not doing like her specialty, which is like singing and dancing. And then her other roles like Footloose. Of course, she's gonna be good for that role.
True.
And then Rock of Ages, like she's a stage performer. But yeah, I agree. So this is another asterisk kind of.
This one I am so confused by.
Really?
I don't know anything about this.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Okay.
Everyone knows Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I know her. I love her.
Yeah. I'm a huge, honestly, on this whole list of people, I'm like, that's the one.
That would be the one. If this counts, that's the winner, in my opinion.
Yeah. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's in Scott Pilgrim, 10 Cloverfield Lane, Die Hard 4 and 5.
Some Birds of Prey. She's
Birds
the
of
best
Prey.
part of Birds of Prey.
I still haven't seen it.
Well, she's the best part of it. she is hilarious.
Yeah. Would the movie suffer greatly without her?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you like Birds of Prey?
I did like Birds of Prey.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. Especially considering where the bar is for DC movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering where the bar was for that character.
Harley Quinn. Yeah.
I didn't particularly love her in Suicide Squad, and I definitely didn't love Suicide Squad. So.
Yeah. So Mary Elizabeth Winstead was born in North Carolina or one of the Carolinas. Carolina. And she moved here when she was 5. So she was pretty young when she moved here. And I think her family stayed here, even though she went to school here. And then she started kind of bouncing around to specialty schools.
Okay.
To train in dancing and acting.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of her earlier roles are kind of like Utah industry stuff. Like she was in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, you know, that play?
Yeah.
She was in a rendition of that had Donny Osmond in it. So she was like in the kind of scene, like the Utah scene. So if you could consider now obviously she's gone now. She's like not living in Utah. Mm-hmm. She's like probably doing the LA or New York thing. I probably wouldn't consider her, but that's probably the closest that you would get to because like at this point she's like getting to the point where she's becoming like an iconic actress.
Okay. Yes.
So
I think that we could include one more with a humongous asterisk. Okay. I know that Amy Adams, one of her first jobs was at the Ogden Rodeo. And Amy Adams would probably be my choice if we're allowing like just random like
hold up
tourists.
Wait, what? The Ogden Rodeo?
Yeah, Amy Adams.
Yeah. So did she live here or did she apply for a job in Ogden and get it?
So according to her IMDb,
mm-hmm.
The first job she ever had at age 12 was selling licorice at a rodeo in Ogden, Utah, while staying with her grandparents.
Interesting.
So
it does say, okay, so I pulled up her Wikipedia. It says Adams was raised as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints until her parents divorced in 1985 and left the church. So she had Mormon ties, and it looked like her father moved to Arizona. So so she had family here, and she probably kind of bounced around in and out of Utah.
I just remember I was watching like either the Golden Globes or one of those things, and they were just asking actors about their first jobs. And I was watching this live, and Amy Adams said, I was selling licorice at the Ogden Rodeo in Utah. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that would blow my mind, too. I'd be like, what?
I was like, I've been there.
Can you imagine? Wait, so, like, I guess that would probably have been before we were going to the
Probably
Ogden
before
Rodeo,
our time.
yeah.
I don't know how old she is, but...
Unless her... So...
We don't talk about age.
Yeah. Are you starting to get self-conscious about your age, Dan?
Not at all.
Okay.
That would have been... Oh, I'm so bad at math. 32 years ago, so...
Maybe a little bit before.
A little bit before I was going to the rodeo.
Damn. Yeah, so I guess like I think that's a huge asterisk, and it kind of takes her out of the...
I hear you.
But if she was in there, obvious, like Amy Adams, you know.
5-time Academy Award nominee, I believe, so...
Man, we need to get her one. She's the Leo.
She should have got it for Arrival.
Female performers.
Her and Saoirse Ronan, both of them.
Yeah, right? Saoirse Ronan. How many has she been nominated for? Like 3 or 4? A lot.
I don't know how to spell her name most of the time.
Saoirse?
She has been Saoirse Ronan has been nominated 4 times for actor.
And how old is she? Like 26?
Yeah, she's pretty young. She's 26. Wow, nice. And Amy Adams has been nominated 6 times. Amy Adams has been nominated 6 times for Oscars.
What's going on, people?
So,
anyway.
Wow.
So, we hoped you liked the celebration of the life of Wilford Brimley. He will be missed. Everyone go watch The Thing, and you can see how great of an actor he was. Or go watch, I say The Thing because it's just a fucking awesome movie.
It's great.
But also, he kind of plays the same character in a lot of, like, his, like, he does a lot of legal dramas.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of is kind of like the gruff dude. And, like, the Thing, he doesn't have a mustache, and he plays like this paranoid scientist, and it's dope. And it's just really cool that like our community brought up one of these cool actors, and he will definitely be missed. And everyone go follow, what was the Twitter account again?
Brimley Cocoon Line.
Brimley Cocoon Line on Twitter.
Or if you want, honor him by eating some Quaker Oats.
Honestly.
It's the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do. Well, that's going to do it for the Holy Hive Show today. We'll be back next week. We didn't have time today for something that we wanted to do, so we're going to try to fit it in next time. So just as a little tease, we're going to start playing this game called Salty Script Rewrites, where we're going to take a movie, just, you know, a famous Hollywood blockbuster that everyone will know, and we're going to try to rewrite it as if it took place in Utah. So that's something to look forward to next week. So until then, also real quick, just to double up on our mention from last week, if you haven't already, go to GoFundMe and find the Save Ken Sanders Rare Books GoFundMe. I think they're close to like halfway through their donation goal.
Awesome.
Like, they're getting pretty close. So if you know, I know it's hard times, but if you have some shekels to maybe kick to a good business here in Salt Lake City, a staple of Salt Lake City, go find the Save Ken Sanders Rare Books GoFundMe page. And honestly, if you have a chance to visit that shop, I think you have to make an appointment to go in.
You do have to make an appointment.
Call them up, make an appointment, go in, and you'll see why this place is pretty important to this community. So that's it, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, Dan.
Oh, goodbye.